After eagerly pre-ordering back in July and during an 8-month wait, my Framework Laptop 16 has finally arrived. I'm experienced Nipa, a feeling I've done this before. Hey guys, CJ with Elevated Systems, and no, you're not experiencing Deja Vu. This is my batch 1 Framework 16 that I unboxed a few weeks ago, and this is its RMA replacement. Unfortunately, the laptop had so many issues that Framework customer service team decided it needed a full swap. Making a video about this wasn't originally on my agenda, but from what I've seen on the interwebs, I'm not the only customer to have faced both minor and significant problems with their Framework 16. So today, I'm gonna quickly run through the troubles I encountered with my original unit. I'll walk you through the customer service experience and the RMA procedure, and together we'll find out if this fresh arrival has exorcised the ghosts of its predecessor. Let's dive in. Immediately after unboxing and set up the Framework 16, I ran into some fit and finish issues. The input cover spacers wouldn't fit flush against the body, with the left silver spacer protruding enough to scratch on my palm while typing. Upon booting up, I noticed the bezel was pressing against the LCD screen, causing backlight bleed, which can quickly lead to dead or stuck pixels. The standard expansion bay also gave me troubles. It was difficult to install, not aligning or sliding into place as smoothly as the GPU expansion bay. Later, I found out the expansion bay was completely non-functional, leaving me without working CPU cooling fans. Framework mentions that the battery might drain slightly while plugged in and under heavy load, but my experience was more extreme. The battery was draining at a rate of 8 to 14% per hour during gaming sessions. Over about 8 hours, it went from 90% to 20%, and even after disabling battery saver mode, there was a noticeable drop in performance. I received my Framework 16 on February 19th, and my initial test focused on the discrete GPU, so it wasn't until the end of the month that I stumbled upon the faulty expansion bay. I reached out to customer service with all the details, photos, and videos on March 1st. The short story: after a 16-message email marathon with Framework support team, on March 6th, they decided to replace my entire laptop. It was shipped on the 12th and landed on my doorstep on the 15th. So in just 15 days, I went from submitting a support ticket to receiving a brand new laptop. The longer story involves that intense exchange of 16 emails. While I know Framework hails from San Francisco, has a warehouse in New Jersey, and manufacturing roots in Taiwan, the exact location of their customer service center is a bit of a mystery to me. However, considering the emails arrived between 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. my time, it's safe to say they're not local. We were practically night owls exchanging messages in the wee hours. The support team was thorough, asking for numerous photos of the laptop and its components from various angles. After sending a barrage, they'd ask for even more. In many cases, it was very obvious they were following a script for known problems. For example, they sent a scripted reply with an image of the expansion bay assembly with the areas highlighted to photograph. As a former system integrator who's built and sold custom PCs online, I get Framework's approach. They sell laptops that are meant to be serviceable by the user, targeting customers who might not be familiar with the ins and outs of tech hardware. Since the RMA process can be costly, solving issues without having to ship parts back and forth is ideal for everyone involved. But as a customer and one with a degree in electronics and computer engineering, I found myself screaming at my inbox at 2 a.m. I actually composed a reply to the effect of, "I'm not taking another picture of this piece of laptop. Just send me a return label now." Instead, I took a moment, gathered my composure, and snapped another dozen pictures. And now, here we are with a replacement Framework 16. Fingers crossed, this one's the charm. Let's dive in and see if it lives up to the promise. The unboxing of the replacement Framework 16 was a familiar experience, mirroring my first encounter, right down to the pre-order poster and sticker pack tucked inside. The support team had advised me to hold on to my original charger, yet here was another one in the box, just missing the power cord. Peeking at the manufacturing date, it reads March 2024. Considering that customers are getting their batch 4 units this week, I'm guessing this one's hot off the batch 4 assembly line. While unpacking, I couldn't help but notice signs that some of the components have been giving a once-over before shipping. There's a scratch on the inside part of the keyboard, and the expansion bay module has the look of having been unwrapped and rewrapped. This is actually a silver lining. It suggests that this laptop may have been put through its paces with a comprehensive quality control check, hopefully ensuring that it's free from the ghosts of issues past. As soon as I had everything unwrapped, the first order of business, even before popping open the mid plate, was to install the complete input deck modules. The fit and finish aren't exactly spot on, but they present an interesting contrast to the original batch 1 units issues. The touchpad module now sits a tad higher than the spacers. It's definitely a step up in quality, but not perfect. With the input deck in place, it was time to open up my laptop and transfer my storage and memory. Looking inside, it's clear that the internal layout hasn't changed. Framework mentioned in their 8th update that they're still fine-tuning their solution for the keyboard flex issue, and this unit sports the same few rubber pads as the first batch. After resecuring the mid plate, I reattached the input modules and they snapped back just the same. However, I had a hunch and decided to experiment a bit. I marked all the components from the batch 1 laptop with small red dots to avoid confusion, but when I tried the batch 1 touchpad module on the replacement unit, it was a better fit, as close to flush as you can expect from this modular design. The problem here is the micron precision in manufacturing tolerances required to get every one of these modules to fit perfectly on every laptop may be more than what's achievable. What we're left with is essentially a trial and error quality control process where the best fitting pieces have to be matched to each laptop individually. With the laptop powered up, the next item on my checklist was the bezel fit. Despite the new display exhibiting a touch more IPS glow, the bezel nestled in just right without any hint of pinching the screen. Moving on to the standard expansion bay, it glided into place far more smoothly than on the first laptop. And to my relief, it functioned perfectly with both fans whirling to life. For a sanity check, I tested the old interconnector and the fans were still operational. However, when I installed the older module, I confirmed that it was indeed dead. No spinny. Definitely brokey. Up to this point, it seemed Framework had addressed my concerns to a satisfactory level, except for one significant issue that could be a deal breaker. After configuring the settings, tweaking the UEFI, and running some break-in stress tests, I charged the laptop to 90%, which is the max I've set in the BIOS. Plugged in, I settled down for a session of Helldivers 2. In just 1 hour, the battery plummeted from 90 to 67%. That's a 23% drop in an hour while connected to power. That's not just a slight dip, that's ridiculous. I charged it to 100% and continued testing, this time looping a time spike graphics test, and I saw the battery drop 24% in an hour. I came back after 4 hours and the test had crashed, but it looks like the battery dropped to at least 35% within 3 hours before the crash. This suggests that intense gaming sessions might be limited to just a few hours on this laptop, even when it's plugged in. Now, Framework has pioneered the first 180-watt USB-C charger, and while that's commendable, the charger just doesn't seem to be up to the task of powering the laptop under full load. I know opinions will vary on this, but to me, that's a fail. Compounding the issue is Framework's recommendation to use a non-existent 240-watt USB PD power supply. While I'm all for USB charging, the convenience of using one charger for all my devices is great. If the laptop can't stay powered on the supply it was designed for, then perhaps an alternative like a standard barrel jack charger should have been considered. And I'm aware several other laptops have this same power demand problem. However, most, if not all, mid to upper tier gaming laptops employ connections other than USB power delivery. It's also particularly frustrating because this puts a damper on long gaming or streaming sessions, and it may well affect other workflows I plan to tackle with the Framework 16, like rendering VFX and 3D animation scenes or game development. These activities will all likely to be impacted by the power supply inefficiency. Setting the power consumption issues aside for a moment, the replacement Framework 16 is undeniably a significant improvement over my initial Batch 1 unit. However, the lingering question remains, why did I receive a $2,500 laptop that didn't fit together, essentially didn't work, and needed a complete replacement? My theory points to a lapse in the QA/QC process. Many of us have likely seen the LTT video touring Framework's assembly factory in Taiwan, which showcased their rigorous QC routine, assembling laptops, testing them, disassembling, then packing and shipping them out. Clearly, that rigorous process was skipped with my original laptop. The alternative explanation would be an utter incompetence either in the process itself or the personnel to overlook not one but three substantial issues, including an entirely non-operational component. Speculating a bit here, I believe Framework's delays in delivery over 2 months for some customers, combined with additional supply chain issues with their component manufacturing partners, might have led to a rushed QA/QC process to expedite units to their waiting customers. After the rapid rollouts of Batch 1, 2, and 3, there was a noticeable delay before Batch 4 was released. This gap could be due to Framework restoring their QA/QC process in response to a surge in customer support interactions and RMA requests, ensuring that subsequent batches met higher quality standards. Again, this is just an educated guess. Wrapping up this journey with the Framework 16, I've got to say, it's been a wild ride, but here's what really stood out. The customer support, while sometimes tedious, was on point. They were quick to respond and even quicker to get a replacement unit out to me. That's something you don't see every day. The lesson learned here is that regardless of your feelings towards Framework as a company, if there's an issue with a product you've purchased from them, you should definitely seek a resolution. Don't cling to a product you're not 100% satisfied with because you think the RMA process might somehow harm the company. I've noticed quite a few Framework apologists and folks rationalizing the very real issues that have emerged with the Framework 16, but this behavior doesn't help the company grow and succeed. It's crucial to highlight the problems, hold the company accountable for fixing them, and ensure you're getting a product that meets your expectations for the price you paid. Growth doesn't come from ignoring issues, it comes from acknowledging mistakes, learning from them, and making the necessary improvements. This applies to individuals as well as companies. And it looks like Framework is learning from their initial mistakes. With just 3 batches of laptops shipped, maybe 1,500 units, they've made some noticeable changes. And here's hoping that this is the start of a trend towards better quality customer satisfaction. That's it for today, but don't think this is the end of the road. No, we're just getting started. I'll be continuing my deep dive into the Framework 16, putting it through its paces with more power testing, exploring various Linux distros, and diving into the world of 3D and VFX workflows. Plus, we'll see how it handles game development in Unreal and Unity. So if you're into all that tech goodness, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to stay updated on all the upcoming adventures. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.